Big man pull up.
You wrote this.
So noted, we'll make sure the record reflects that.
I didn't know if you needed me to roll.
Oh, exit. I don't know why they didn't fall off. What?
It's good to be done.
Keep trying to go there, George.
I don't know, I don't have a clue what's going on.
No, Kevin's not here. Okay, good.
Okay, so. Well, he's on the phone. Okay.
Hope you don't have your camera.
Oh, it don't work. I had to put the gavel up for the Christmas thing. And when the kids hit each other in the head.
Huh?
Change my haircut. That's it. Still got blue eyes.
Oh, okay. Meeting call to order. Would everyone stand, please? Pledge allegiance.
Allegiance of what?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
How you doing?
Quick.
Okay. AJ, roll call, please.
Ruff,
Here.
Watts, Abernathy, Tope,
Here.
Whitaker, Robinson.
It's here.
I can't see you.
Walk over here and something.
You must see them. Okay, let's move right on. I need a motion and a second to approve the agenda here.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
I need a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, let's move right on down to the discussion of business license fees.
Mr. Mayor and Board, if you recall that we had been looking at the code and certain ordinances passed that raise the fees for auto repair shops, hotels, plumbers, and cleaners. I have been in contact with our representative at General Code to obtain past copies, physical copies of our code from 2015, 2016, prior to the ordinances being passed. However, our contact, Lisa, had to undergo surgery last week, so she was out of office. I spoke to her today. She's going to do some research and get back to me. So as of now, we don't have old copies of the code. However, General Code has it on its to-do list.
Just need to table it again.
So as of now, it's just a discussion. It's not up for any passing or anything like that. However, I'm free to answer any questions if anyone has any.
Anybody got any questions on the license fee?
When was the last time there was an increase in the tax?
So I'm sorry, so I believe the last one was passed in January of 2017. However, there's an ordinance passed in 2016 that raised some of these occupations as well. And so what we're looking for are hard copies of the 2015, 2016 codes, so we can go back and see what they want before those ordinances were passed. And unfortunately, my office does not have a copy of those. And,
I'm sorry.
no, and they're not accessible online because online only stores so far.
So, 2015, because you didn't agree with the prices of the 6 units.
We need to see what they were prior. Sometimes, in order to increase business license fees, they have to be put to a vote. And some of the increases were not put to a vote. So they may be void, and that's what we're researching.
Okay, because
No, sir, again, there's an ordinance in 2016 and 2017 that affected these occupations listed here.
Right, and before then,
Okay.
it's like 20.
Okay, so we do have a copy of a code book from the 90s, so I do have those numbers. But again, I'd like to see what 15 and 16 were, to see if that matches what we have. So again, we're still researching, and unfortunately, our contact did have surgery, so that's kind of put us behind the eight ball.
So 2015 shows the same as the last 25 years, and the year we do for a substantial increase, correct?
Correct, and that's something that this board can discuss, but some of those fees, if they are going to be increased, have to be put to the motor vehicle. But again, that's something that, unfortunately, because I don't have those codes in front of me, I can't tell you for sure.
Right, I just want to make sure that's been heard and make sure that's the way it went, but it's the vote.
Right, right.
Okay, so we need to just move right on there. Discussion of Forest Pro contract. We have,
I'm here, sir.
okay.
Did you want me to go to the podium?
Yes, okay, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Joel Gabauer, General Manager at Voice Pro. So I had, last time I was here, we looked at the cloud-based proposal and the NEC system proposal, and I had sent over the various agreements for each. So I got all those pulled up. If you'd like to start with the hosted system or the cloud system agreement first, I can start there. It's really, so there's a couple of them to review. Or does anybody have any questions? So,
We was looking at the cloud system, wasn't we?
that was the one that got the most questions last time from
From Glenn?
Chuck. Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay,
So
so we'll let him start on it.
that's fine.
And sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Just for clarification,
Yeah.
which one, because I do have two in front of me, which one is the cloud one?
Care if I come up there?
No,
It's easier to show you.
just for my own.
No, not this one. These two go together.
Oh.
This is the NEC, and then this is the valve from the hosted one is in the amount of $610.
Oh, okay,
So these go together.
those are the same.
Well, they're different, but they're part of the same. They would be the system that would reside within the four walls of City Hall, plus the dial tone. They go
These
together.
two go together.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yep, yep.
$610.
Yes, sir, yeah, that's the one that I'm looking at right here. It was $610 a month plus a one-time install, labor, programming, and training fee of $3,500. It was based off of a 5-year agreement. It had licensing for 23 total extensions, which would provide 23 total phone lines. It would provide 20 desktop mobile applications, both desktop and mobile applications. A new managed router, one UPS, which is your battery backup, 23 private numbers, 18 new phones, a new gigabit power over Ethernet switch, 3 fax lines, and then 5 adapters, 3 of which would go to the fax machines and 2 would go, there's 2 analog phones on the walls in City Hall. They're the old style phones we used to have in our homes when we were all younger, right, to connect those. So that's how I came up with 23. It was 18 actual new phones, then cover connections of the fax lines and the phone, the 2 analog phones that hang on the wall, is what I've got. Do you guys have a copy of that one?
I have a copy of it.
You got yours?
No, this is your time to ask more
Just asking
questions.
questions.
And so, Mr. Mayor, these are the ones that he just said, these two would go together.
Go together.
I don't see a contract in front of me regarding
No.
the cloud system.
Okay.
Didn't I send it to you in an email?
I've got the NEC one, but looks like I don't know if I have.
And it should have been attached, 'cause all 3 of them were attached together.
Well, the first one, I think the first one I emailed you at the original board meeting was the cloud one, and then I talked to Mr. Watts, he said, send the other ones too, so that everybody can look at it, so.
Correct, so yes, sir, you and I got the same one. This is the
Yeah.
NEC, and we need to make sure. we
Do you have it, AJ?
Okay, we need to make sure we have it.
Ultimately, it's up to the board, whichever you decide.
That's the NEC, so there's this one. And the first one I sent over was the one, doesn't look like you got it. Print it out. I've got an email copy, if you want me to send it, you can print it again,
I go
if
downstairs.
you want to do that.
I go downstairs. While y'all talk.
All right, anybody got any questions on this?
Like right now.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
ma'am.
So what's the timeline that you need given?
Well, the sooner the better, because he's gonna dig at it.
It takes, yes, sir, it takes about 4 to 5 weeks to get everything done. Because we actually have to, what's called, we have to port your numbers over. The numbers all stay the same for City Hall, those don't go away. We have to transfer them from the current service provider to us. That's 2 to 3 weeks alone if everything goes perfectly. And then we need time to gather programming information, site surveys, programming the actual system, getting it set up, delivery, training, et cetera. So it's usually a 4 to 5 week process. I can do it quicker, but if I have the normal time frame, then it's a much smoother evolution versus trying to rush something in. I set it on the 4th, so it's.
Ellen, can you hear what's going on?
I do, and I do want to make a comment when you can let me.
Okay, why don't you go ahead, because we're waiting on some paperwork.
Okay, well, the comment I want to make is the fact that I think we need to move on this as quick as we can, because we definitely need the system. I'm on for the cloud, so I'm wondering if we can have a resolution made up for our next meeting. Not saying that, you know, are we all in agreement to it? I am, but if we had a resolution ready for the next meeting, we can vote on it and get it moved.
Correct, so I mean, if we'll have discussion today, and you guys can direct me, the resolution, if you want it to be the cloud or the other system, or if you want further discussion at the actual board meeting, and we can fill in the resolution at that time.
So like I said, I'm in favor of the cloud.
Correct.
Other people's opinion, that's.
And why is that?
I'm not sure if Alderman Whitaker, Alderman Robinson asked why you're in favor of the cloud.
Because the last meeting that we had in Berlin kind of explained the thing, and the difference in the cost, there really is a difference in cost, and there's a lot more open timing to show what we need. I just think it would be the best system for us.
Okay. The cloud automatically updates itself. Every
Right.
time there's new technology, we already get that, correct?
Yeah,
Whereas when we get the fixed box in the building, we're just stuck with that box and maybe get some software upgrades.
you do. Yeah, you get software updates, and that's usually on an annual basis from the manufacturer, but as I tell folks, I said, if you were purchasing something, in all honesty, it would probably run another 6 to 8 years. You're buying another box again, just because I've been doing this for 15 plus years in the days of me working with a customer to put in a system that'll last 15 years and stand. It just doesn't exist anymore. The manufacturer discontinued it and move on to the next product. So really the only piece in the cloud application that you're replacing would be, a network switch or a managed router that's just going to have a normal 3 to 5 year life cycle on it anyway, because it's a piece of technology that gets upgraded or replaced. So,
If we're not happy with the service, I'm not clause
I set the master service agreement. I mean, we've done it before where there's kind of a 2-week trial period that if you're upset, then yeah, we would walk away, right, and kind of do that.
Well, I'm saying,
Sure.
after a couple of years or something, it's a future board.
Sure.
Technology and they like
Well, I would have to write something in there special to say, okay, based off of lack of performance on my company's part, I would certainly want then a reasonable amount of time to alleviate the problem. But if I couldn't alleviate said problem, then yes. Because our company is interested in earning your business, but I'm also not interested in someone that's that upset for some reason that now, it's just an unhappy. But I'd have to add, I don't have that in there today, but I could certainly add some addendum that said, because I've recently had to do this, I had to write it, but it was all, they were having problems, it was all based off of their current internet provider. It wasn't my service, it was just that the internet was crummy. So we had to fix the internet, and it fixed our service, the service requirement for the customer. But yeah, I could add an addendum in there to the city that said, if it's due to lack of performance on my part, and I can't resolve it within a reason, and identify, if it's 30 days or 60 days, what's a reasonable amount of time, then yeah, I would
And so,
come up with that.
and we've done this before with indemnity clauses and how to get on contracts. That's something that T and I can discuss, but I would need direction before this evening.
Yeah.
So we figure out what contract we're looking at, and then I would have hit the ground running tomorrow to review it and.
Give me some ideas of what,
Exactly.
I always ask for, what are you looking for, and help me kind of mold it for what you want, and I can usually come up with something fair for both sides of the
It's
line.
standard contract language.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
But again, I kind of would need some direction so we know which contract we're looking at, what pricing we're looking at, and then we can work out the kinks between now and the next one.
I think that's the focus we went to with the cloud.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I
that's
think
why I
everybody
should do
was on
both.
board with the cloud.
With the cloud. Yeah. That's why I should do the cloud before we do the cloud.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So you know, that was on FaceTime during
Who's on FaceTime?
that was over.
Hey, Alan, any chocolate?
So if that's the general consensus, someone can make a motion to direct me to draft a resolution adopting the contract for the cloud services.
I'd like to make a motion that we have reviewed it. To be
Did you
reviewed.
get it, AJ? The email I sent you?
Yeah, I ran out of tone, so I was able to.
So we're just batting 1,000 this evening, so.
It happens.
I'd
But
like to
again,
make a motion that we move
Yeah.
forward with adopting the contract involving the cloud.
I got a motion, I need a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? AJ, ayes,
Here's
ayes.
my contact information.
I've got it done here, I'll shoot you an email tomorrow morning when I get in the
Yeah,
office.
I'm in all day tomorrow.
Perfect, we'll go from there. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, anything else I can answer? or-
I just for numbers, that number.
Sure.
price-wise,
Yeah.
This goes through what timeline we looking at.
Yeah, about 4 to 5 weeks, because the pulling of the numbers from Windstream, all things, everything goes well with them, that's a 2 to 3 week process. Just to port the numbers from City Hall over to us, and then in between that time is an implementation and programming meeting where we're meeting with representatives of the cities. Okay, how do you want these things programmed? How do you want your calls to be answered? So there's a whole process there. Ordering equipment, delivering equipment, site visits, training establishments, those kind of things.
And that's real, I don't staff to be willing to see what their timeline.
Yeah, sure, sure. Yeah, I've got a standard SOP I can send over. Here's our normal 4 to 6 week SOP, and here's what happens in week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Great.
Because I didn't want to cite it to dates, I just go by week, here's what we're going to mark out.
Okay, I'll shoot you an email tomorrow morning.
Perfect.
Working on it.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna leave that
Yes, sir?
for resolution.
Yep.
Okay. That's it.
Thank you for your time, Happy New Year, and I'll look for that email
Excellent.
tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me out.
Okay. I don't know what's wrong. Okay.
AJ, it's okay for the student, right?
Contract will be given out. AJ, does you have, something on this contract?
I'm,
Tree service?
Beyond Housing.
Beyond Housing?
Doug Speedy stopped in earlier today, he wasn't able to make our meeting tonight. He said if you had any questions, you feel free to give him a call. But to my knowledge, there is a grant, I think, to help you get, the trees removed and stuff like that.
But I do have a question, first with Doug before, he asked me a question, because he's identified every tree in there. me rephrase it. According to him, he said he's identified the trees, he gave us a number. And he also gave us a number around the $320 range that it costs to maintain, trimming the edge and all those trees. So his next comment was, and he asked the question, does our budget support that? Do we have anything within our budget that will support if we have to do maintenance on these trees? And he gave it that. I did not see any line item in the budget, not the one I guess was the new budget that's done, but the budget came out last year. I didn't see a line item in there that supported, I had a line item reference to trees and, take care of them. But he did give a guesstimate. Now, we should be wrong, that's, I'm just going where he indicated. I didn't walk around with him, so, but he said he identified over 200 some trees.
Yeah, but a question that I have, which trees did he identify?
I get it, he can come and tell us what.
Well, he's gonna have to.
He's gonna have
Did
to.
you get that, did you get this, what I sent out in your packet?
I got that, but I don't understand.
Well, if you go further, it is like,
And
the
you should have a
graph
map,
where,
because you get a
right,
map.
he
Yeah, but
identified,
is it out in the street trees or what?
he got addresses to where these trees are, where
And
the.
they all buried, not private trees.
Yeah, but when I call myself going to the house to look,
I mean, that's where it don't take it. I understand.
right,
But will our budget, or do we need to discuss whether or not to get with him, because he did say there should be a budget for the maintenance and,
so you know more than we do.
Well, we have $10,000 in the one that was handed out tonight. It says tree planting.
Yeah, I, that's just a proposal, I knew this was coming, and I just put that in there.
yeah, and I know he asked that, and I know we hadn't voted on anything, but I didn't know if that was considered, if we want to continue this relationship with him.
And what was the rent price?
Well, he,
$6,000.
You
So,
said,
Mr. Mayor and Board, if I may, I've reviewed the contract, and there seems to be some inconsistencies. For example, in the front page, it says removal of 37 trees, pruning of 14, but later the number 80 comes up. So if possible, AJ, could Mr. Seeley come to the next meeting and walk through this? Again, I found some typos and stuff as well, and I'd be happy to talk to him, but I think
okay,
right now, there's no way to answer questions of how we found the trees, where those trees are.
Located, right.
Exactly.
What is the price?
So in the contract that I received, it looks like that Doug sent it to AJ, who passed it on to me. As of now, it says not to exceed $7,000.
Also, it went up, right?
The one I'm looking at.
that's what you said.
But again, attached to that is a spreadsheet with numerous trees listed.
Right. But some of those also said that the trees would have been removed or something.
Oh, you know,
All the trees that I received, I looked at it.
I got someone that.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering about. We don't want to be charged for something that's already done.
you indicated it'd be feasible for us to, before we.
We can bring it to the meeting.
Yeah, so if AJ, if we can contact Mr. Seeley, you and I can both do it, just so he can come and answer, yeah, where these trees are, how we got to this number, all that good stuff.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so we need to do.
So can we pass something at the next meeting?
I would be fine drafting a resolution and adopting it, but I also, there's some pieces of the contract again that seem contradictory. That in one it says, what
Should
roughly,
we talk to him about that?
I can definitely, I'll reach out beforehand, but I,
I just hate to keep having, a discussion on the same thing for months and months. It'd be nice if we could get
And
it.
it's an impact on the budget, we need to.
Well, we got 10,000 budgeted.
$10,000 in the budget.
Let me say
Proposal.
What's that?
It's a proposal, not
Proposed budget.
Okay.
a proposal.
So if we can have him to come and walk us through this thing, that way we know where we're going with it.
He walked through.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. Okay, so we're gonna have him to come to the next meeting. Okay,
Talk to him tomorrow.
okay. So, we can move right on then. Okay, the discussion of application for business license for a home daycare business. I have.
Well, the young lady came to our last
She came
meeting,
to the last meeting,
and she
right?
turned in all her
This is her
paperwork that was
paperwork
required.
here.
Right.
And it's,
also been notarized and everything here.
And I got her license, a copy of her license, and her bid, her state of Missouri certificate from Secretary of State.
You need to see this.
And I got where she registered with the, her EIN with the IRS. She turned all that paperwork in.
So she's completed everything that the city requires?
Yes.
Okay.
So I didn't hear you say anything about the inspection from the fire marshal and all that stuff?
Well, she got her, I don't know if she said she had, I can ask her.
Because she used to have that precedent project to
Right.
inspect it.
But once that's done, I mean, I have to ask her.
Because there has to be there are certain guidelines for the daycare that have to be followed by the product, but we don't have control of because they've got to check, they got to check with exit entrances, lights and all that kind of stuff. So there's a.
She just moved in there, so her house has been inspected.
No,
I know
this
she
is a whole
said-
different inspection.
What type of inspection would that be besides the
Fire
fire?
marshal has to inspect the building because she utilizes.
Right, I know that part, but any other type of inspections besides that
Well,
one?
she's got to go through that.
Okay.
And the state board, because you gotta get NIFTY training, there's a bunch of stuff that falls, because you have to have NIFTY training and all that, because you gotta go through all those different versions to have, all that should be documented.
Okay, well, I need you to tell me that, because I
I'll
didn't.
get with you.
Yeah, okay.
So AJ, again, if you could have, I know the young lady should have been the last meeting, but if she wants to come the next meeting, because I don't know if anyone asked her questions, because she had
No, we didn't.
paperwork.
Right.
No, we didn't ask any questions.
So if she'd like to, if she can be available for the next meeting and come, so she can answer any questions.
Okay.
That would be January 7th.
Yes, sir.
Okay, next week.
Who's gonna be out of town? Who's gonna be out of town? You? I'm going out of town, I'm regular. Check on you, buddy. Either underground or out of town.
I know, I'm wondering about that.
Okay.
We should be out of town today and tomorrow.
I didn't get the ticket for the plane. Okay, well, we need to move right on then. Discussion of bill release property. Henry, you got something on that?
I gave some documents, and first I want to just be clear, so everybody will be on the same page with this. When we came into this, there was a program that was established called the Homestead Program. And within that Homestead Program, they identified several addresses. And as I read the document, and as Terry and I reviewed all the properties, and that's what I want to get clear. The Homestead Program is a program that could be used successfully if used correctly. And let me dwell on the corrected part. If indeed, for some reason, unbeknown to me and anyone on the board, that Bear Ridge inherited a piece of property, someone leaves it, and it's livable, it's a home or something. With the Homestead Program, we can use those guidelines to anybody that wants to purchase a house, because those guidelines say you must become a resident, you must live in a house, you must bring up the code. That's what, if that ever happens, don't know. But now I take the properties that were part of that Homestead Program, I'm gonna tell you, every one of the addresses that I gave to attorney, a squire.
The person sitting next to them.
Yeah.
None of those addresses in that program are inhabited. I'm sorry, they're not. I don't know how they got in the program, because you just like apple over here and orange over there. Most of them, if not all, of them, should be demoed.
They got in the program because nobody bought them out of the back tax sale because they were in such bad
Well,
shape.
those actually degraded the purpose of the homestead program, because it was not fit to be in the homestead program. So whatever the village needs to do, or the city needs to do something with those addresses. And I'm gonna tell you, it should be tied with the homestead program. Eradicate them, tear them down, burn them up, have a bonfire, whatever you wanna do with them. But they should be eradicated. I didn't see one house that you could move in unless you have $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 at minimum to invest in that house. Now, unfortunately, within that program, and I'm just using the program, I just want to separate the two. That's what I was trying to say. It should be. But it's two homes that was captured into that program. I gave you the documents for that.
Yes.
And neither home, especially one on Sherman, follows the directives in the program. Because they had a year to do this and all that. Nothing has been done to that home. But that person still has the deed, the temporary, the deed, whatever, you got it. But if you read through the county, it's gonna say buried on
You got conditional deed.
conditional deed, there you go. Both of them have conditional deeds.
Okay.
That's the one I'm showing has conditional deed, nothing, so if you follow the letter, if you wanna put on the program, it should be eradicated, because they didn't follow the process, so that should, and I believe what I gave you says default back to the city, about that.
So, Mr. Mayor and Board, after the last meeting, Alderman Watts gave me the paperwork and copies of the homestead program. We're still assessing what liability, if any, the city could face if we go to try to recapture those properties. At the next meeting, I'd be able to give us further, and we can discuss our options going forward. Because Alderman Watts is correct, we have vacant houses sitting there that people obtained through the homestead program, but have not followed the rules. Specifically, they're supposed to fix up the property, they're supposed to be a resident. And again, I need to assess the liability that the city may have if and when we go to recapture those properties.
And please add that year on one of the properties, the city has paid the sewer bill for that one property for the entire calendar.
But I was under the impression that we was gonna send a bill out.
Send a letter, that's all we can do. I mean,
But just let it be known that we've been paying that bill.
Well, I think the reason that is happening is because I don't know if recapture is the correct term, because none of the properties were actually put in somebody else's name.
No, they do, no, you're right, they
Well,
were.
they're all still in the city's name, and the way MSD is that you can't assign that except for the person that's on the title. So MSD is gonna bill the person on the title.
Which is our city.
Right, which is the-
Leominster or something.
And that's what we didn't know, we can come in the back door and we get this bill, as you indicated, we will. And we then forward that invoice to the person in the home and then nothing. But overall, the city, as you indicated, when you read the deed, it's gonna say city burial. So MSD is gonna send that bill to the city, which they are. And we are obligated, and we have been paying.
Well, if we move forward with this failed program in any shape or fashion, to me, it seems like that when the bids go out for a house, that we come up with a list of everything that has to be repaired ahead of time.
That's an extensive.
Show that to the person, and then let them produce funds showing that they can afford it. Because somebody who's not experienced in this and just walks in, there can be all kinds of hidden stuff behind the wall.
Well, let me ask this question, that's why I tried it. Can we separate those homes, those addresses that we have, and look at those separately from the time to a program called a homestead program, which I think, if done right, now I'm not including any of these addresses we talk about tonight, none of them, not one, I don't think that's not, I'm saying that I like the scope of that program, to say in the future or somewhere, it may become of some value to us, but not in the current situation, not involve any of those properties that they're now. I would like to separate, do what you want with those properties, sell them, do what, I don't think, Glenn, and I'll be honest with you, if you go into one, you're gonna walk away, and you know there's $30,000, $40,000 just to get into that piece of property, just to fix it up. And the value of that property is gonna not, you're gonna value yourself out. So I think, and I don't know if there's some real estate company, I don't know if there's some builder, more for the land than the building. Because I don't think the buildings are gonna, the addresses for the building is gonna attract anyone, the land may.
But if you look at a contract, that might go into,
I'm looking at the land, not the building, because
that's what I'm
you're gonna have to
saying.
level the
If you
building.
tear the things down, the contractor tear them down, and the city would benefit from it, from the taxes that they build down.
But I don't think we should continue this homestead program with those addresses attached to it. I think eradicate those,
Let's leave the home care program over there by itself with nothing attached to it, and get all those addresses we talked about and do a disposition on those.
It definitely wasn't managed correctly.
Oh, yeah, I can tell you.
One of the properties listed is actually the parking lot.
I know. Hey, me and Terry spent 2 days and I looked at every one. Some I looked at, some I could look at and I go always.
They're gonna just rock.
Well, they're really deteriorating already, so.
Some
Why
of
should
them,
we hold on to something that's not gonna?
the roofs are caved in on some of them.
And then on top of that, we still got carried and cut the grass on this side.
True we are. So we need to make a disposition on those addresses. And if, whatever the disposition is, well, I personally, and I'm not a contractor, but just from a layman's standpoint, personally, I don't see an individual coming in any one of those addresses and investing $30,000, $40,000. Because it may be plumbing, electrical, the foundation may be damaged, roof gone, what you gonna spend $5,000, $6,000 for a roof now?
I think you can get people to come in with new houses. Through I think it's called ISIP.
That's true.
The program through the state that subsidizes,
But-
but the ones that are by your house.
True, I agree with you. But a mother of 5 can't go into a house like that.
Yeah, see, that the problem is, again, these houses besides the roof problem, almost all of them.
It depends on who she was married
To
to.
repair.
Oh, yeah.
And two-bedroom houses just aren't a high commodity like they used to be.
Give me a 3-2.
Everybody wants 3 or 4.
I want a 3-2. I want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Give me a 3-2.
Yeah, and that'd be fair.
We stayed in the house with one bathroom.
Now, unless you like to put it together.
That's what I think you're right. It's the build new
I can
houses.
hear it there.
Well, that was where I was going with this.
Well, we need to make a decision what you want to do with those addresses. But we have the addresses, right? And so the decision is, what does the board want to do with those addresses?
Well, I'll get a guy to come in who's built some of the houses in the past and have him talk with the board.
I don't see you in the home there.
I think that's what we, okay, go ahead.
AJ, do you have a list of all the houses that were in the homestead program?
Not with me.
No, I know, but a
Oh,
list
yeah.
exists somewhere. Okay,
But
so
I
I would
don't
suggest,
understand. You got people here in Bell Ridge on burning houses, and you keep saying their names.
Who?
Who's sitting on the head? If they want to buy it, just like, now, listen what I just said. What the board, if the board wants to put them up for sale,
The board is sitting on their hands.
Right, there we go.
okay, say the board, don't say you. If the board wants to say, hey, you know what? Let's set these properties up, and I would say, what I said before, and it wasn't done before, is that you give I would call and get the value of the property, through the county, whatever. If they say the property is $600, that's where I'm gonna start my bid at. I'm not gonna just do a secret bid and I bid $50.
Right, I understand that.
For the property. No, and that's what happened. I'm looking at some of the numbers people bid on. Come on. So you got to do your homework in front of us. If there are people in Belleville, as Glenn said, equated to the same thing Glenn is talking about, sure, open it up, but come in the door with a reasonable base bid on it. And the only way you're going to do that is do your work and find out, because I'm going to tell you, you're going to pay more for the property than the building that's sitting on the property. But that's where you start. You know, she could bid at $50, come on.
No, that ain't gonna work. We got more investment than $50 in.
And I think we need to have an accurate repair cost.
I agree
think
with
the
you.
person show that they have funds, because not many people have $30,000 or $40,000 cash just to throw in one of these houses that's gonna be worth 30 or 40 when you're done.
I agree with you, but you're going to bid yourself out of the market. Because in
If you
the,
do it like that, you're gonna piss people off.
Well, but people get in this situation where they run out of money.
you can't be house poor and going to these deals.
I'm headed down here to fix it, why would we sell it to somebody?
Well, Henry, hey, turn it down. Come on, help me.
if I can, I think next time I need to give a report to the board of every single property that's in the program, what St. Louis County said it's valued at, and if report on the program that was passed to see if there's any way that we can, I understand that there's still the city's name, but a conditional deed was given, and I need to see the validity of that, and if there's a way the city can void, for lack of a better term, that
But
conditional
it
deed.
was a conditional deed.
Yes,
Two of
I
them.
have 2 copies with
Two.
me. I'm gonna work with AJ to make sure I get a list of all the properties that were
They
in the
never filed
program.
that claim.
And that's, I need to look on.
Well,
I
we
to
need
see-
to find out what they have.
They never got filed.
Well, that was something Henry could look into, but 2 conditional deed was issued,
And I have a copy.
and
with
she has
me.
copies of them. One on Sherman and one on Pebble.
But all this information is available online, so as long as I have the addresses, which I'll work with AJ to get, I can look on the Recorder of Deeds website to see what was filed, and we can go from there. But again, if I can give a report at the next meeting on all that, I think you guys are in a better position to figure out what you are gonna do with these houses. If people are, trying to bid on them.
And I agree with you, Jerome, if there are people in the village, I keep saying village, I always consider it the city.
They have it.
It's interesting, but I think it should be open to everyone, but we got to go in with open eyes.
Yeah,
Just
we don't want to
see
give
the bid.
we don't want to give the property away.
Sure.
We want to give it
I would love to see
because the city has taken care of that, property for quite a while.
And maintenance of
And
country grass.
cutting grass and stuff like that. So we need to become and say that some of that needs to go back to the city.
So we'll be clear, we want to open up to anyone that's interested. And let them bid.
And make sure you get that mail there today.
Most of the property that the city owns isn't on any paperwork with the homestead program.
I don't know, that's true.
So I don't know what to do with that.
Well, we try to identify all the addresses that the village, the city owns. And the one, the list I gave you is not inclusive of everyone.
Because there's post-third sale properties that the city obtained.
Right.
That were not part of the program.
Right, so
Is that-
what I
that's
gave you
correct?
is what, if you ran the list I gave you, it's gonna show the deed, it comes back to Bear Ridge. But there are properties within Bear Ridge that's not on the list.
Because they're not part of the homestead program.
It wasn't initiated in that,
But the city
Well,
still owns
what I'm
it.
saying, we got everything going on possible.
yeah, we just need, we can pull up all, we can pull up all the properties address-wise that default back to Bear Ridge. But I can tell you sitting there now, there will be addresses that will default back to Bear Ridge that wasn't part of that list, or that list that only contained maybe 10, 12, or less than that.
And those are the ones in the homestead program.
Right.
But there are ones that the city owns that aren't in them.
Sure, correct. I understand. So for example, there's 20 homes the city owns, but only 10 of those are in the homestead program. For
And some
example.
of none of the properties listed on the homestead program, the city doesn't even own.
Oh, we identified that one, yeah. In fact, there are things on the homestead program, the property's in the back of another lady's house. And to get to that, you have to go through her yard to get to it, and I said, how the heck they get on there?
What is it, her property?
No,
It's not no property. I know exactly what it is they're talking
Hey,
about.
I'm gonna tell you another piece of property that's on there. Drive down Handy, you see a shed, and Handy, they live.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that shed there,
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking that belongs to the people, that's buried.
That's their reason shed.
That's buried the shed.
Didn't I tell you that the other day?
You can put a soda fountain there and sell Kool-Aid from there, but you're not gonna build
Did you tell us
anything.
that there was a people that burned that?
I didn't know here, it's
That
not
belongs to Bear Ridge.
from buried, and we cut the grass.
We didn't pay for it, but don't know how long.
If we write a citation up for the shed doors, all the neighbors gonna be writing up to us.
Exactly.
So we need a ticket on that shed.
Put your name on it.
Yeah, put my name on it.
And send the ticket to Henry.
Yeah, we go, if it's violation, on it.
He sent them back.
Okay, so I have my marching orders. I understand when I need to come back with the information for next time. So,
Gotcha.
okay.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
so you got that. Okay. Especially around the village and Upland Park.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, it looks like we need to discuss the 2020 budget, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right,
Does
we
anyone
go
else
with
have
you.
this?
Okay. we go with
Okay.
you. Okay. No problem. Okay. Has anybody got any question on this?
Only question I got there is that this is the first time I put my eyes on it, and it'd be very difficult for me to give you my opinion based on something I just put my eyes on.
AJ, for clarification, this was provided by our accountants, the city's accountants.
The spreadsheet, yes.
Okay.
And when you get up to the number, before it says proposed, the column there that says, 2019 budget, that was from her. And proposed is what, I filled in.
So you did the
I
proposed
did the proposed,
fiscal year 2020, and the fiscal year 2019 budget is from the accountant?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and I can look at those charts and give you my opinion. Did we put it, so this budget that's being proposed for review is for the 2020? And our budget period starts January, or what month is our budget? What month is our budget? January 1 to December 31st?
Yes, sir. So technically, this needed to be passed by close of business tomorrow, however, that's not going to happen. So it's my understanding that everyone is just looking at this now for the first time.
Yeah, I would feel comfortable just sit down with a glass of wine and
AJ, do you know if it's possible to have someone from the accounting firm be present at the next meeting?
I can call Peggy and see.
Okay.
I know she's on vacation right now.
Oh, okay.
Also, I wanted to make note that I spoke to the, state auditor today on the phone just to get clarification of what we needed to set or add, included into the budget for that state audit, petition state audit. And he did in fact say we need to set aside at least $60,000
For the audit itself?
the state audit.
Okay.
And that's not,
So I kind of worked it up in there, but
and that's not generated in here?
yeah,
It's
it's on
in
the
here?
second page and I got it in gray at the top.
Correct me, your
Gotcha,
second.
I see it.
Since it's second.
Now, this state audit is comprised of what they have been doing, or just?
So also, he did say that probably by the end of January or going into February, they should be done. Oh, no, a rough draft of the audit. Like he'll like let us know and he'll come and meet with the board,
Correct.
you know.
So AJ's correct. So what happens is they prepare a rough draft and they do a pre-exit interview.
Mhm.
They will come in and it'll be a closed meeting.
Okay.
At that time, that's kind of, they're probably about a month out. After that, they'll give us their final version. And we as a board, will be in closed session, will respond.
Okay.
Once we give them our responses, then it'll be published and become an open document for the public to see.
And this is encompass of what they've been doing since April last year.
AJ, I believe, yes.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
This is encompass of what we're gonna do. The rough draft is encompass of what they started April of 2019, up until now.
You mean last,
Yeah.
when did they start?
April.
So they started in April, but typically
Yeah,
they look
yeah.
back to the
But they
previous year.
Right.
Actually, went a little further back, but it went back to the tip era.
Gotcha. Oh, okay. So, but it sounds like though that this is the number that was conveyed to AJ, the 60,000 that needed to be built.
Right.
May I ask a question, and bring my mom, but let me ask a question. What we just talked about on the first program, the cost of that, is that in confidential too?
Yeah, I did a,
Because those
Yeah.
numbers may have a little,
Could it be an offset?
I added that on there just in case. I don't know if the figures
So we're
are
gonna
in.
get pound numbers from him, structure
Right.
too,
But
so
I
we may
think-
do amendment to it, I guess.
Correct. If it's, yes. If it's going to be different than what you guys can always pass an amendment at a later date. That would have to be done by ordinance.
Right.
What's up, looking at this round, it looks like we have almost about $500,000 type of city.
Alderman Joe, what page are you looking at?
The last one. No,
They're broken down, it's not a whole total of all of them. You have to read each page, is broken,
Right.
each department is broken down with their own budget.
That's why I didn't want to do
Right.
a bird's eye look at that, just where,
This page
Short
here, it's
reference.
got 496,738.
Hold on. It has what?
The same page.
I I
Where
need to take
where are you
further
at?
look at
Okay,
this.
where, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Again, it'd be very helpful to have someone from the accounting firm here to walk us through.
Exactly, so thank you.
obviously, this is about,
And AJ, did we say we're missing something from the municipal court?
We are missing
some
some of the
numbers?
figures from municipal court.
Understood, okay. Because I did see some blanks under your proposed for 2020.
Yeah.
So, okay, thank you.
okay, so, yeah, the price report, there's nothing there.
No, there's not.
That's what she said, she's missing some things
Right,
from
and
the.
so,
But still, it was the same as last year, 265, and we're, negative 500, so.
So
I think we all
we'll
have
get
some
paid.
homework to do
Yes,
by reviewing
yes.
it.
Well, our revenues though, in here are drastically reduced too, so. I don't know if this is not a good deal, but this is more helpful with
Well, we need it both. Yeah, I agree with you. You just don't throw out a bunch of numbers with that. I want to know how you, I have a lot of questions.
How you arrived at these numbers?
Well, some of the numbers that I arrived with, I went off of the year-to-date actual of what she did up until October versus her anticipated through the end of December. I also went back through my files of the things that I've paid and people's income and all of that and totaled out just to get an idea of what we
What's
were
coming in and what's going out.
Right. So with that being said, she also did tell me, once I plug in the numbers, I need to send it back to her and she'll take a look at it. And like you say, I can invite her, back to the next meeting.
I think that'd be very helpful,
Yeah.
thank you.
The city's paying, right?
Yeah.
City's paying the company, we need to
Yeah.
have it.
Yeah. At least y'all got some idea
In other words,
about,
we don't do budget by
location.
telephone.
Huh?
No. We'll budget by telephone. Call you up and say, what?
No.
I want to see your eyes, see your body language.
Face to face.
Okay.
May I ask a question before we move to number, item J? Just for my clarification, that discussion that with you, Mayor, and I had a discussion with AJ one Sunday. And I apologize for calling you on Sunday, but, there is, and I don't know where it falls at, this has to do with, licensing and inspections. And I'm talking about the church. That's now something on campus. The question is, and I don't know about the legality, do we need to have some documentation of occupancy, because there's no occupancy that we have
Right.
filed for that.
But some of the churches that we have had in the past in the neighborhoods, we didn't do occupancy from what I was told.
Is
That
this the
they
gentleman?
did inspections and all of that, but we didn't provide them with occupancy.
Is this the husband and wife that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that came to the meeting.
Okay, but I thought they were instructed to get with you to apply for.
Yeah, everything went through, it's just that my question was, I didn't know if I was supposed to give her, husband and wife, actual occupancy. Like a certificate.
Right, yeah.
Because some of the churches that are in the neighborhood, they don't have them, we're not providing them.
Oh, okay.
That's something that we need
It's
to,
something I need to look into. I think.
because the reason I asked that, because an inspection for the use of an establishment that way is gonna be different than inspection for a residential environment.
But we had, the guy that we do have, like, doing our commercial stuff.
Right.
He did their inspection, and they did get their fire,
They got the fire
they
inspection.
got all that, they turned in all of that.
And that's part of your documentation office?
So they've done everything they're supposed to. The
Yeah.
question is if did we give them an occupancy?
Exactly.
And we don't have that in our file, so if someone comes behind and questions our paperwork, we don't show that.
Right.
Because the only thing we show is the residential occupancy rate. And do we need something, I don't know, that's the question.
That's understood. Okay, I'll have to review our code and see. But again, and I'll get with you to make sure that if they've done everything they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Just going back to the budget here real quickly. Since the next meeting is on the 7th, is it realistic to think that we would have enough time at the regular board meeting to actually finish this budget, or would this require a separate meeting?
I think we need to see if we can have the accountant come to the next meeting. I think people don't need to review it this evening, maybe with a glass of wine, someone said, and have questions prepared. And again, if those questions have not been fulfilled at the next meeting, then we can talk about having a separate meeting to continue discussion on it.
But maybe we would consider letting people ask questions at the beginning of the meeting. If we're gonna get into something that can, people could be here for a really long time.
Right, and that's, I think, something though, again, if the accountant can come to the next meeting, we can have questions prepared, and if it doesn't look like it's gonna go hours and hours, that is something that we can schedule another meeting for. But I would ask that everyone look at it this evening. I know AJ has to give the accountant new numbers, and we'll
Right.
have everyone posted. And of course, provide documentation in time for the next meeting, what we have. I know it's not a great answer, but unfortunately, that's the answer I have right now.
Yeah. Okay.
And I agree with you, it would have been nice if,
We started back in.
I agree.
We've gotten some from the accountant already that they came extremely close to balancing, and, we could just tweak.
So picky. So
Yeah,
picky,
believe
and
me,
the budget to
If we had the
balance.
power to clear back hands of time, I'm gonna go back to 1970.
We don't want to go back there.
I was gonna say, I wouldn't be around then, not me.
Oh, okay, good.
Alright.
Okay. So AJ, you gonna contact them?
Contact Vicky, yes.
Thank you, AJ.
Okay, so we can move on.
So the next one, Delta Village in Upland wanted to utilize our board, our office this year. And, I put it on there, see if y'all want to discuss that. Don't know.
What's the name? Herman. And she's the alderman of the Upland Park. And what she wanted to do is like use their village, our facilities for a short meeting, 3 to 4 people. And they were willing to pay the city each time that they use it. And so I told her that I would talk to the board and see what the board says. But the thing of it is, if we want to be good neighbors, and we're trying to get some things done, so
Would it be a board of alderman meeting or a city council meeting? Is that what they're looking for?
yeah, it's like 2 people from each. Well, the village and then Upland Park, they would combine it together
Oh,
and have a discussion on whatever they want us about it. And I was,
A length of time.
We go Henry right now.
okay, well, go ahead.
I just, a lot of questions came up when you presented it to me, and areas up the park, in between up the park, you got Norway, you got Belnor, Beverly Hills and all that. And I don't know if they engaged them, they had the same question as there.
I don't know.
And that would be a question I would want, if they engaged them, because they're a lot closer to them in travel time than we are. For the church, yeah, and I don't know what process they use. If the board agrees, there has to be some kind of big contractual agreement. Just not open up the doors and you go.
No, we don't want that. We want.
There gotta be some liabilities and all that. Don't know what kind of schedule they're looking at can impede what we do here. And most prevalent is that we really need to reevaluate what we decided, because some other issues coming on the table. The use of this complex. Because we did pass a quick deal that said we're not gonna use this complex outside of the Bell Ridge. And we did do that resolution in there.
But we need to revisit that, because we kind of locked ourselves into a bubble that said, do not use this complex only for this.
Okay, Glenn, can you elaborate on that?
Well, my thought is that we should try to have better relationships with the neighbor municipalities.
I agree, I'm not knocking that.
And, you know, that's part of the reason that they were trying to, abolish all the municipalities and that effort that just failed. And now they're starting, Freeholders one, I think is still going to attempt to do some consolidation. And the reason that those efforts are successful is because, with 21 municipalities, and, we're not trying to work together. If we've got the building, and they take our building over Normandy's building, that's a compliment.
But your curious rascal say, yeah, you got to come to me a little more play than.
Well, I mean, that's what you do, is just say, hey, let's try this on 90 days, see if it works for both parties.
I think the questions need to be asked and answered are when, how much are they willing to expend to use the facilities? Are they expecting police department to be present, or are they going to have their own office? There's some certain questions that we need to work out in the details.
Well, why don't
Yeah,
we do
exactly.
this?
Is AJ supposed to be present? Or
Oh, no.
I know AJ's answer.
No.
I don't know if they can do it police work.
Why don't we have her come to the next meeting and explain what she wants to do? And then we can move from there.
Yes, I would think they would talk to them about it.
Yeah, because right now, security for,
No, we can't do that.
no, and then they.
But it's still a liability for this being our building.
Right.
We're in charge of securing itself.
Their officers don't have jurisdiction.
So yes, I would like to talk to them. It had nothing to do with building relationships, don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about that at all. But I look at it as for the business. I mean, you got to treat it as a business. Because what are we obligated, what are they obligated? Because I don't want Kerry coming in, sitting in chairs, bringing down chairs.
No, I
And all
can't
that
have
kind
that.
of stuff, understanding what our expectation of the use of the building, they may allow smoking in it, so I don't know.
No, we can't have that.
I know that, I'm just throwing it out there. But that's why I like to be,
Right, we can have a reasonable agreement, one that names the city of Bellbridge's additional insurer.
That's another piece, the insurance
Policy
piece.
to give us protection.
If one of their representatives would like to come and speak to us and kind of see what they're thinking again, do they think they're going to get it for free, or do they have an expectation that they're going to pay? And when are they going to meet? Is it going to conflict with, planning and zoning, board of adjustment, this meeting?
They had to call AJ and
Court.
And court.
Sets another.
they had to give AJ some notice, and AJ can tell them, yes, the building's available then.
And will our insurance, was insuring it in us, would that be any impact that was nothing into these houses?
So our other municipalities have done intergovernmental agreements. For example, Crystal Lake Park utilizes Frontenac City Hall for its courts and for its Board of Aldermen meetings. So we have agreements, and I need to take a look at, but these are all things that we need to consider. And, are they expecting us just to give them the facility, or do they understand that there may be cost involved and they may have to take a back seat, to our meetings?
And remember, Bell Green Bakers wanted to store their files up here, and have our clerks answer their phones and answer that Bell Green Bakers. Remember that? No, we remember.
Yeah. So these are all questions, again, if a representative wants to come, there could be an open dialogue, and I can provide sample agreements because we've done it for our other cities. Yeah.
I think it works.
Yeah, we're trying to be
We
good
can
neighbors.
discuss it, and once we take them up on it, it's up to us. And if we don't like what they offer,
Yeah, believe me, I'm not knocking anything dealing with community, getting, camaraderie, I just want to look at it from a business standpoint.
Exactly.
I think we also feel like a high priority in reviewing the actual bridge, which is a state road, and we do it through some sort of transportation development district or TIF district. We're going to need the county involved, and then having a good relationship with municipalities, saying, that we use Belbridge City Hall, and if it would be an asset to the whole area and have the mayor from both these communities sign and stuff like that. That's what people want to see, so that they don't, everybody doesn't get up, and the thing is, that allows the municipalities, they want to see the municipalities working and working together.
No argument for me is that look at it as a business, just make sure that we all have it. But you can run for state representative,
But my thing,
but even as state representative, we want to still look at it as a business.
my thing is this, why don't we just have, Herman to come to the next meeting? And then
So move.
so move. So we'll move on to it.
Okay.
AJ would become a business standpoint, AJ.
I don't even know who Herman is and where.
I gave you the phone number.
May I ask? Chief, for Belden Village and Upland Park, that's the North County Co-op?
Correct.
Is that who they have? Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted for clarification.
And if they need them.
And that's something to, we would need to factor in if they expect an officer to be present. Thank you.
Always have officers that I read.
And it's actually, it's not a big deal to get her number and, give her
Oh, it's a Her, oh, so that's not the first name, Herman.
Herman.
That's her last name, Herman?
Carmen.
Carmen. I thought you said Herman.
Carmen
McClinton,
Oh, okay.
last name. Yes.
Yeah, Herman.
Okay, is that it?
Yes, sir. I like the work decision.
I'm stop meeting adjourned, so if someone would like to make a motion.
I need a motion and a second, don't
Are you
you?
have no, message phone?
I need a motion.
Hey, you know, Rob, I said,
All in favor?
you did it.
All opposed? This is done here.
Jesus.
Who said that?
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you.
It's just, you can ignore
Hey,
it.
did we say goodbye to what? Did we close out with what?
His phone died.
Oh, you got what going there?
He's still on the phone there.
Happy New Year, everybody. We want our first.
You go to Harbor Freight, get lost in Harbor Freight.
We can find it all.
You got
Yes.
hey,
So who proposed?
third or fourth time.
Mr. Whitaker, you won't get it all?
You don't even know the brand name.
Okay. Well, let's see where it goes.
I already got the damn everything.
I sure right. I'll get it to you. All righty, we appreciate you being there and hearing everything that went on. All righty.
I'm gonna double check.